Okay, hello, Jake is here, and in this tutorial I'm gonna show you flight mode annunciator here on Boeing 737. Flight mode annunciator can be found here in the upper part of primary flight display, and it's the only one source from which you can read your autopilot functions, which mode is active and which is not active or armed. Right, it has three basic color codes. The first one is that it is armed, and it's just white little text in the lower part of flight mode annunciator, and it says that the mode is just armed. So now I have armed LNAV and VNAV. But now if I will select, for example, level change, it will get bigger green text, and it has a green rectangle around it. And when text is green, it means that the mode is active right now, and that rectangle means that its mode has been activated recently, and it's just to grab flight crew's attention, and it disappears after 10 seconds. Right, so we have bad weather here in Prague currently, and I'm gonna demonstrate just a short flight. It will be right-hand circuit and using auto-land function of this aircraft, and I will demonstrate all possible combinations you can have here on a flight mode annunciator. Okay, so without any further delays, let's jump in. So I'm gonna arm auto throttle, and you can see that it has green rectangle. That means that this has been activated recently, and it is it's white, so it means that it's just armed and doing nothing. Then I'm gonna arm LNAV and VNAV, which will come soon after takeoff, and when I hit toga, I will have toga here indication. Right, so I'm gonna release parking brakes, increase throttles manually to 40% and 1, and I'm hitting toga, and you can see that we have N1 as a reference speed. For navigation we don't have any mode because we are on runway now, but LNAV is armed, and for vertical guidance we have toga activated, and you can see flight director is actually going up to navigate us after takeoff. Right, so V1 rotate,
V2,
gentle rotation into nowhere. Right, positive right gear up, and you can see that LNAV is now activated, and it has again that rectangle around it. So I'm gonna... oh, now I can use autopilot. And here you can see that we have lost VNAV, and it says nothing, and here is control wheel steering yellow indication, and that means that autopilot has been downgraded to control wheel steering, and I will discuss this function in any other tutorial, not now. Right, so now I'm gonna lose level change, set speed to 20 knots, and you can see that we have MCP speed now, and we have it in a vertical guidance. And what does it mean? That it checks for a speed entered here in an MCP, and it will climb or descend, or adjust the climb or descent according to the speed to maintain it. It means that now it's climbing less actually, because we want to go here to those 220 knots, and now it will increase climb gradient, and now we are approaching to 5,000 feet. So we got MCP speed here in a speed window, and here is altitude allocation, and soon we're gonna have here altitude hold. I'm gonna prepare it for landing, and now here is altitude hold again, green rectangle around it. just set heading. And as I said earlier, the flight mode annunciator is the only one source you can read your autopilot function. One of the biggest mistakes of beginning pilots is that they think that they can read autopilot functions here on MCP, but if you have closer look, you can see that I have no vertical guidance here set, nor VNAV, level change, altitude hold or vertical speed, nothing, but it just says altitude hold, and it's a function of that level change, because when level change becomes inactive, when you reach your selected altitude, you just change to altitude hold, and it's holding that altitude. So that's why you should pay more attention to it. And in a real world, actually a pilot flying has to call out or read them loudly, all changes he has here on that flight mode annunciator. So if I will set heading now, for example, he will set heading cell. Now he will say LNAV. For example, here if I set I'm gonna descend to 4,000 feet. Now we have altitude hold, and vertical speed is actually armed. So if I put a vertical speed, he will say vertical speed. For level change, he will say retard MCP speed. What that retards mean that it will retard your throttles to the idle or flight idle, and descent with keeping in mind this speed. So now we are losing speed, so it will increase descent rate to gain that speed again. And if I will lower it to our minimum clean speed, it will descend slowly, and speed will go down soon. And now we have only arm here, because throttles are already retarded and they are in arm position, and if I would like to move them, I can do so, but I will not do it now. We just casual descent, 5,000, 4,000 feet. Right, so those flaps 30, so we have 1 to 1 knots. Auto brakes are set. We are at 4,000 feet. We will wait for a short time and then make 2 right turns back to the glide slope, and now MCP speed, alt, hold. I'm gonna lower flaps to 1, reduce it, and again it says MCP speed. And if I will actually put here altitude hold, it says again MCP speed. If I put here N1, it says N1, and it will increase throttles here to the N1. We don't need it now because we want to keep this speed for flaps 1. I'm gonna bring it back to 4,000 feet, and again MCP speed. Right, so let's use heading together. So heading cell, heading 150. Minimum is 50 feet. We are using category 3B approach. There was one accident in a real world actually. I think it was Turkish Airlines approaching to Amsterdam airport, and they had problem with their radio altimeter. They were landing or using autoland as I am now, and they got flare mode here activated in about 2,000 feet above ground. They didn't notice it, and the airplane actually flared that high and lost all its speed. So that's why you should pay all your attention when you're using autopilot to this little instrument, because it in some cases it might save your life. Right, so turn right heading 210, arm approach, and now we have Warlock and the glide slope armed, and we have Warlock captured, and it's a single channel. Put second autopilot here to have redundancy and capability of that auto land approach. So now we are just waiting for glide slope. Once again, as you can see, it's armed, and just waiting for glide slope to come down to us and capture it. So I'm gonna switch to approach mode and set go around heading 241, missed approach altitude 4,000 feet is set. And here goes glide slope, and it will be captured soon. And we can't see anything. At about 500 feet above ground, the single channel will come to command, and we will have flare armed visible. And single channel means that we are using only one autopilot channel right now, because it's not needed in these altitudes to have both autopilots in, but near the ground, when terrain is closer to you, you definitely need to have it, and especially in this case when we have clouds about 70 feet above ground, I think. So we have, now we have glide slope captured. I'm gonna reduce speed 160 knots and lower flaps to 5. Now we have localizer in a precision mode, and these edge dots are actually these inner dots, so this is more precise and you can see your deviation more precisely. So we are 7.5 miles from the runway, or actually from DME, which is near touchdown zone, and approximately at 5 miles, between 5 and 4 miles, you should begin your final approach configuration, or full landing configuration. That means lower gear, flaps, arm spoilers and things like that. And when you have 3-degree descent angle, it usually corresponds to about 2000 feet radio altimeter. So we have 5.4 miles, 3, 2 and 1. Okay, let's do it. So gear down, flaps 15. I'm gonna lower the speed to VRF plus 5. Engine start switches are continuous, so let's arm speed brakes, and let's do before landing checklist. Engine start switch is continuous, speed brakes armed, landing gear down, and I'm gonna lower the flaps to 30 and flaps 30 green light. And now we have land 3, rollout and flare modes are armed. So we know that we have category 3 armed, so we are able to land even in this awful weather conditions. So we are 1100 feet above ground. Normally it would be, we can see ground quite nicely from this low altitude, but now we cannot. And now we are beginning to look for runway lights, or lights in front of runway, approach lights, and as soon as we will be able to see them, we can continue with our landing. If we are unable to see them, just as you see here, 50 feet above ground, it's not that much. We have to actually do a go around, so let's hope we will be able to see them and we won't make a go around.
500.
So 500 feet.
300.
I'm preparing on a toga bottom.
200.
200, category 1 minimums. I see trees. Oh, it's scary. And here are runway lights. I can see it. Oof, just in time. 50 minimums landing and flare is armed. Yeah, it's active. Retard.
10.
Now speed is armed and rollout is active. So I'm just gonna engage reverse. And continue with deceleration manually. So I'm disengaging autopilot now. Shut up. And we have found it, even in this terrible weather. Okay, so this is all for today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in my next tutorial. Thank you.